Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Nicole. I'm an astrologer, card reader, and life coach. And this is my channel dedicated to all of those things, plus spiritual topics in general. So today I am going to speak a little bit about the Mars Uranus conjunction happening in the sky right now. It's not exact yet, but it will be happening between now and tomorrow. And then after that, Mars will be shifting from Aries into Taurus. So right now, both Mars and Uranus are in Aries, where they are meeting up and they're sharing some energy with each other. So that's what I'm really going to talk about today. And I know a lot of you are going to be joining me live, and some of you can't join me live because you're working or you have other things to do besides watch YouTube videos all day. So for those of you that are watching right now from the pre-recorded, just so you know, I do offer readings. I offer coaching sessions as well. So in my readings, I use astrology, the cards of truth, and tarot. And if you go to my website, NicoleBrenny.com, you can kind of look at my different offerings. Some of my offerings use all of the different modalities that I've studied, and some of them are more specific to just cards of truth, just tarot, just life coaching, all of that. So you can choose whatever's the best fit for you. If you can't choose, I highly recommend the Nicole reading, which is kind of just like more, it's the most intuitive reading that I have. And that's the one where I'll most likely use things like omens or the I Ching. And the diamond reading is my number one reading and is the most highly recommended because I get to use all the different modalities and kind of flip between through all of them. And I know that didn't make sense at all, but it's my most loved, most requested reading. So I highly recommend it. And I am taking on long-term coaching clients right now. It's the beginning of the year. It's a good time to start life coaching. So if you've been thinking about it and you don't know if you should do it or not, just do it. You can sign up at my website, and actually you'd probably have to email me if you want to jump right into a package. Otherwise, sign up for the initial life coaching session and we will go from there. All right. So I don't know if you guys have been feeling this Mars Uranus energy yet, but I know that I have, and it's really been filtering into my life in a really, really strange way. And I've been also kind of paying attention to the different people around me and my clients and everything. And I've been seeing that this energy is not as obvious as I was expecting it to be. So let me just see what you guys are saying quick before I get into it. Hello, Jordan, Evil, Michael, everyone. Okay. Hello, everyone. It's so nice to see people in the chat. And if you're in the chat, feel free to give this video a thumbs up because it really does help my channel. Okay. So Mars is super interesting. Mars is like our willpower. It's the energy that we have to really assert ourselves in the world. It's also a planet of individuality, right? Mars rules over Aries and Scorpio, but Mars rules over Aries, and Aries is really that sign of our individuality. Like, what is our unique purpose in the world? Being the natural first house, Aries has so much to do with our path and our purpose and what we're here to be in this lifetime. And so Mars really does contain some of that energy of our individuality, right? And Uranus is really interesting as well because Uranus is also a planet of individuality. If we look at these things numerologically, Mars is ruled by the number 3 in the astrology and the systems that I study. Also, I do study the cards of truth system, and I've never learned more about the planets than I have by studying the cards of truth. So if you're an astrologer wanting to go deeper with the planets, I highly recommend studying the cards of truth. And I am teaching a course in April, so you can look below for information on that. And that's where I really learned about Mars being related to the number 3. And when there is 3, whenever you have a grouping of 3, you kind of have a powerful 2, and then you have a 1. And you can, every single edge of the triangle, for instance, could be the 1. But that 1 is representing that 2 have come together and they have shared whatever they need to, and now 1 is leaving. So there's this thought, there's this idea of flying apart, right? So 3 is a very vulnerable number. And I actually was opening up a coconut this morning to make my smoothie. And on every single coconut, which here they are called pipas, every single coconut, there are 3 holes at the top that kind of create a face. I should have brought a coconut to show you guys. But there are 3 holes on the top of a coconut. I'm sure all of you have seen a coconut before. And some people are always ask when they come to the tropics, like, how do you open this thing? How do you get the water out? And they start banging it with a hammer. They start like pounding at it with a knife. But it's really, really easy to get the water or the coconut milk out of a coconut, because of these 3 holes, there will always be, it's not holes, it's like little 3 circles that look like they can be holes. They're little 3 circles. There's always one of these circles that is more vulnerable or softer than the other 2. So you can always shove your knife into that vulnerable circle in the coconut to get the juice out. And that's how I opened up my coconut to get some coconut water to make my smoothie this morning. So there's always going to be a vulnerable spot with any grouping of 3. There's always a more vulnerable one. There's always one that's flying apart, right? And so with Mars, we have this inherent vulnerability. And that inherent vulnerability is what makes us individuals, right? Because Mars is ruling Aries. Mars is letting us become the individuals that we need to be in Aries. But there's a vulnerability in there. There's a weakness in there. There's something that's not quite stabilized. It will be stabilized in the 4, but it's not quite stabilized yet. Uranus, on the other hand, is an individuality that's well refined. In fact, the individuality is so refined that there's a healthy level of detachment that is also present in Uranus. Uranus can be aligned with Aquarius because numerologically, Uranus is the number 11. 11 is 2 ones. We don't always reduce that number 11 to a 2. We don't always take 1 + 1 to make it equal 2. That's something that you can do, but 11 is a master number. It's kind of a number that stands on its own. And one of the reasons why it stands on its own is because it's really showing this concept of 2 healthy individuals, or the individual self and that detached outlook, that detached perspective of the individual self. So we have so much energy here with Mars conjunct Uranus in Aries itself. So we have 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Like we have all these ones that has to do with individualization and really trying to show us who we uniquely are. And so if you haven't been in the last 24 hours or even 48 hours or even longer than that, because Mars doesn't move that quickly, so the last days, if you haven't been thinking and asking yourself who you are and what you're doing here on this planet and what is your divine purpose and what kind of special things can you bring to life through your willpower in this world, then I don't know what you've been doing, because there's so much energy here that's really asking us who we are and what we can bring to the fore, what we can bring to the picture. Mars and Uranus together like this in Aries, and Uranus is going to be shifting from Aries soon too. It's giving us this final punch to really get us on our path, right? Aries is a natural first house. It's getting us with this final punch back onto our path so that we can do what we really need to do to fulfill our purpose. And of course, this isn't going to make our purpose in life totally clear. In order to do that, you might need to get some clarity through, your own deep work and searching and all of that. But it's going to give us an opportunity, potentially from the outside, in order to do that, because Uranus can be kind of a more externalized planet, forcing change from the outside, as we see with those 2 ones standing together in the number 11. But remember, there's a vulnerability, there's a weakness. And at this time, some of your weaknesses or vulnerabilities, including physical vulnerabilities, could come up. And that's what happened to me. So I'll tell you about that, what happened to me in the last 24 hours, in just a minute. Okay, awesome. We have so many people here. We have Tarkesh, Wendy, Edgardo, Tim, Ranku, and I really hope I'm pronouncing everyone's names correctly. Edgardo says in numerology, 2019 is a 3 universal year. So that's also important that we're seeing the number 3 come up. So this could be a conjunction that has some bigger implications and broader implications. All right. So nice to see everyone here. If you're watching silently, feel free to say hello. So what happened to me yesterday was, I told you guys my surfboard got dinged. It fell out of its rack when I put it away the other day, and it got a huge dent in it. And so I could only surf using my boyfriend's shortboard, but I don't surf with a shortboard. I surf with a mini longboard, which is about 7 feet long. So I was going from surfing a 7-foot board to a 5-foot board, which isn't impossible. I'm sure I could do just fine on a 5-foot board, but when you're surfing, 2 feet of length on a board makes a huge difference. And if you think about paddling, if you think about standing up on that board, it's going to be quite different and quite challenging to go from a longer, more stable model to something shorter and a little less stable. So I really, really, really wanted to surf yesterday. So I took my boyfriend's shortboard out to the beach to give it a try. And the waves were looking pretty crazy, like really, really big. Not a lot of people were surfing. So I decided to just sit on the beach and really stretch out. So I was moving my arms back and forth. I was doing all these things, you know, stretches, laying in the sand, just rolling my back around, really stretching out, because I've been surfing 3 to 6 hours a day, and I've been stretching maybe 5 minutes every day before I surf and a little bit after, and not much more than that. So I was basically giving myself an hour worth of stretching to make up for all the stretching I didn't do. And I felt amazing. I got a little bit of a duck diving lesson from a friend of mine. And then I hit the ocean, paddled out there to the lineup, and waited for a wave that was good and ready for me. And I felt great. I felt fine. I felt amazing. I felt like my back was loose. And of course, paddling and trying to stay stable on the shortboard was really difficult. I felt like I was wobbling all over the place, but I felt really good until 2 hours later when I was at home and I had such terrible pain right here in my back and through my ribs that I could barely even breathe without like having to catch my breath. I was like, and I couldn't lift anything. I'd like try to lift a drink and I'd be like in terrible, terrible pain. So, so, I was in horrible pain all night until this morning, and I'm still in pain, but it's like, 70% less painful than it was last night. And sadly, my surfboard was fixed late last night and waiting for me to go surf it this morning, but I couldn't surf it because I was terribly in pain. So one of the things I realized through this Mars and Uranus conjunction is my own inherent weakness of, if surfing is something that I really want to have in my life, if surfing is my unique individual way of using my willpower in the world to move energy in the world right now, then I need to face my inherent vulnerability of my physical self. And I need to find a way to strengthen that. Mars is a planet of strength. And I chose my Mars makeover video image thumbnail because if you watch that video of my Mars makeover video, you'll be able to go and see all the different significations of Mars. All of my makeover videos put all the different significations of the planet into a 20 or 25-minute long video so you can learn all about the planet in a very short time. So you'll know that Mars is strength. So for me, I was realizing my own physical weakness that is going to prevent me, if I let it, from actually being able to assert myself in the way that I want to physically in this world. So a weakness came up for me to deal with. And with Uranus there, I've been able to deal with it in a very detached way. I wasn't emotional about it. I mean, I am sad that I didn't get to surf today, but that was a weakness that came up for me. But there's more to this Mars and Uranus transit. There's more insights that I've had. So that's one thing that came up for me. I'm wondering if anything came up for you guys as well, so I can share with our audience any cool stories. Yes. Rachel's saying stretching is very important after physical activity. Yes, I definitely need to stretch more. This is YC. Hello. Sana. Hello. Magic Cat. Hello. Yeah, I do need to stretch more. And that is one of the things I learned through this terrible pain. It was a horrible, horrible pain. I had to sleep holding a pillow like this so that I wouldn't roll over and stretch this muscle out weird. Okay. And also Uranus is kind of like, it can be force change. It's like revolution, it's rebellion, it's disruption, it's shaking things up. So sometimes when Uranus is impacting you or your Mars or whatever, it can force change from the outside. So Mars is my Atmakarka, or no, Mars is not my Atmakarka. I'm sorry. Mars is my ascendant lord. I don't know why I said it's my Atmakarka. Mars rules over my ascendant. So that means Mars rules over my entire chart. And it's a very, very important planet for me. So when Uranus is coming in there, and it's conjuncting my Mars, which is like the planet that's one of the planets that's representing me. It's trying to force change. It's trying to force something different. It's trying to force a perspective, or it's trying to force a new path, something in my life to create change. Uranus always is trying to bring change or disruption or revolution or something different. And so one of the things I have to recognize is maybe I shouldn't be just be surfing all day, when right now I'm working on a book and I'm having all these insights about what I want to put in that book. And so because I didn't get to surf today, something from the outside stopped me. Now I worked on my book all morning. So there are things that are happening to me and people around me, that's something from the outside that's creating change. And because Mars is so personal in my chart, it's hitting me in a more personal way. Okay, and there's one little last example that I want to give you guys, but for everyone, it could just be a way that your way of physically exerting yourself in life is being revolutionized, or a weakness is being exposed, or the way that you're asserting yourself is being revolutionized or changed, or any of those things. And it can also bring up some illnesses or sicknesses and things like that too for people, because Mars is such a strong planet for health. So I'd love to know if you guys are going through anything right now. I know not everyone is super chatty today. Someone said, Adriana said, I've hurt a nerve in my left hand, so 2 fingers are asleep. And Jordan, this is a very kind of like short-term transit. D. Truesdell said, started university this January, had a paper and midterm yesterday, had a bad migraine in the morning and had to do it all but rest and medicate to get through it all. So yeah, I mean, something is going to come from the outside, something is going to come to shake you up, especially if it's like a more personal planet or anything like that. You guys remember that Mars and Uranus are in Aries, and then they're both going to be transiting out. So part of this whole big lesson that we're learning is to try to figure out, what is this unique way that we're going to use our energy and our willpower in the world? Is it going to be in a way that is meaningful for us? And what is meaningful for us? So for me, if it's surfing, for instance, then what do I have to do in my life to make that happen? We have this small window of time to really work through what it is that we need in our lives so that we can feel like who we truly are. And we're giving these final opportunities to really realize that. And I hope that for most of you, you're not making it about superficial things, because this is actually kind of more of like it can be quite a spiritual thing. It's Aries, but there's still quite a spiritual resonance and frequency with all this energy, especially with Uranus and Mars being in these late degrees. So it's a real time for you to kind of collect these final pieces of yourself before you move forward, and before more of your material things start to shift when Uranus goes into Taurus. Taurus is a material sign. It's an Arta house. So basically that means that right now we're kind of working more on ourselves, because once Uranus gets into Taurus, more of our physical world could start to change a lot more. So gather yourself, collect yourself right now. And with Mars and Uranus, you're really kind of seeing where these vulnerabilities and weaknesses are, in my humble opinion. Okay. So Olympia says she just found out that she has celiac disease and many food allergies. So she's changing the way that she's eating. And it was definitely shocking and unexpected. It was a huge life change. That's amazing. Yes, and Jordan's asking if it can change in good ways. And of course, and actually, I think all change is good. We're on this path, we're in this life to evolve and grow. So any change that we come across, even if it's difficult, is ultimately going to be for the good. 5, that crisis number, happens right before the number 6, which is fulfillment. So all change is trying to get us towards fulfillment, and any kind of more terrible changes at the 7 are trying to get us towards an even higher level of fulfillment in the 8 and the 9. So we're always moving towards fulfillment. Okay. So all change is good. Now, the last thing I was going to say, which is kind of more of an obvious thing with Mars, is Mars rules over sports, and Mars rules over how we exert ourselves physically. And Uranus is more of like these innovative ways of doing things, and these, different ways of thinking. It's outside of the box. And one thing that happened to me in the last 24 hours is that I had this amazing insight about surfing. And basically I've been trying to figure out how to turn on a surfboard. So I'm not like shredding these waves yet. I'm not like this amazing surfer yet. So I've been trying to figure out how to turn the board. And I've been doing ballet on and off since I was 20. So about 10 years, maybe a little bit less than that. And you guys, my favorite puppy in the entire world is here. So let me show him to you. 1 second. Come here. Okay, so I know that was annoying, but look at how cute he is. He comes and visits me every day, but he's not my dog. He's so cute. I don't know his name, so I just call him Boy because he has a sister. Ooh, okay. Hopefully I didn't drop him. Now he's hiding from me because I never pick him up. Okay, so that's my favorite dog. But I was talking about how I've been doing ballet on and off for like 8 years or something like that. So in ballet, I can do pirouettes. Not very well, but I can do pirouettes and I can do all different kinds of turns. And I realized that when I'm doing turns in ballet that I'm using my arms, and that the arms are kind of guiding my whole turn and the way I'm moving my body. And my Mars Uranus innovation sort of brain that happened in the past couple of days was making this connection between dancing and surfing, and realizing that if I apply what I know about ballet, what I know about dance to surfing, I can probably do a lot more cool things on the waves. And I can show more of my individual creativity, my individual personality through my surfing. Because I already have all these skills that I've developed through studying ballet, for instance. So Mars and Uranus was being very obvious, showing this Mars, sports, activity, that kind of thing. And actually Mercury is more like ruling sports, but Mars is like how we exert our energy. In this innovative Uranus thinking outside of the box way. So for me, it was kind of like this, you know, light bulb going off sort of innovative way of thinking about surfing that I never thought about before. So I'm going to see what you guys are saying, and then I'm going to go soon. Yes, he's such a cute dog. Okay, there's a lot of comments. When does Uranus go into Taurus? Maria, I have to check, but I should just make a video on that. So I should have a list written down, but I don't have anything with me here. Cali Fun. So you're dealing with a breakup and adoption challenges. Yes, I think that some people are going to be going through challenges at this time. And I do wish you the best with that. And what if it's going through the 12th house? That is more specific. If you want to know more specifics about how these things are going to impact you, I would recommend just setting up a reading with me so we can actually go in depth. So I'm not just saying something that you're going to hang on to that's not really going to match your birth chart. So you can also even just set up like a tarot card reading, and then I can spend a portion of that time looking briefly at your transits, and then we can ask questions with the tarot and stuff like that. So if you want to get really specific about how transits are impacting you, I'd rather do it like for real than just give you some generic response. Jenna got to see the puppy. Okay. And the old trauma stuff too, if Wendy's dealing with old trauma, that's also because Chiron is about to shift as well. And so with Chiron about to shift, you're really dealing with your last Piscean trauma. Right now, all of us are kind of doing that. So some of us have kind of already finished with our Chiron business, but it's like the last degree. So it's like the finalization, finally really dealing with our wounds, you know? So Chiron is what helps us to deal with our wounds and bring those to light. And so in Pisces, it's like finally finishing that up. So I think that's really that Chiron situation for you, Wendy. Yeah, Daniel's talking about economic change and currency change might happen when Uranus hits Taurus. I agree with that. And yes, so everyone's saying some wonderful things. I can't comment on all of them because it would take all day to really give you guys all the full responses to all of your questions and comments, which I love. So thank you for chiming in and sharing your thoughts. But yeah, that's how I'm feeling the Mars and Uranus. I also have friends that are kind of getting forced change. A lot have to do with living situations because Mars does rule over real estate. So you're going to see kind of big changes for people in their home situations, real estate situations, depending on how those factors are showing up in their chart. But I have seen that with a lot of different people recently. So you're going to see different things like that. Just for the next day or two, just see what kind of insights come up. Because if it's not really happening in this huge way, Uranus can sometimes bring you big insights, like the light bulb going off in your head, you know, just showing you like a really exciting thing that you can do to innovate. So like I was saying about the surfing and relating it to dancing or ballet, I feel so excited to go surfing again once my inherent weakness is healed, so that I can kind of try out these different things that I learned in ballet on a surfboard, not exactly, but to help me kind of improve my surfing skills and to do something a little bit different. And who knows how that's going to work, but to me, it's inspiring and exciting. So that is all I have to share with you guys today. The last thing I want to answer is this question that someone asked is, how long will these transits last? Mars is going to be shifting into Taurus on the 14th. So up until Valentine's Day, you are going to be feeling the effects of this. This is just a little short transit, but it is quite important because we have all of this Aries energy. So really, you guys really think about what makes you special, what makes you unique, what kinds of things that you want to bring with you into Taurus. So what parts of yourself, what kind of like, you know, what makes you you? What's that individual thing that you want to bring with? Like, what can't you live without? And what do you have to change in your life in order to be able to bring what you can't live without with you when we get into a more grounded state of Taurus? Of course, that grounded state's not going to be so stable because Uranus is going to be there. But we want to have ourselves together so that we can handle any kind of physical disruptions Uranus brings. So get yourself together, collect yourself. That is what I will say right now. And for me, that is really, for me, I would say, I think I'm doing that. I'm like following just basically the things that I love to do. I'm using that Rahu in Cancer and kind of following what I love to do and seeing where that takes me. So there's way more to say about this. I just don't think that I will be able to say it as eloquently as I want to in a short time. Someone else was asking me if I do these every day at the same time. I do not. So I just do these in the morning usually. So as early as I can after I get done surfing. Today I didn't surf, so I just came on when I normally would around like the time I would finish surfing. But I would say usually around 9 a.m. Central Daylight Time, but it depends on the tides. So that's as good as I can get. What I would recommend is if you are interested in watching these videos, subscribe to my channel. I think you can hit a notification bell so you can see when I'm on. That's probably your best thing to do. And sign up for or like my Facebook page, facebook.com/Nicole Brenny. And I usually will post a photo of the thumbnail and I'll say I'll be going live in 5 minutes. So you will always get that update too if you're subscribed to my notifications there. And I should probably put that on Instagram too. I am on Instagram as instagram.com/listentothestars_. And so you guys can check me out on there. And I should probably let you guys know when I'm live on Instagram too. Okay, yes, I hope I will heal soon so I can go surfing. Have a wonderful, wonderful day if you guys are somewhere where it's day, or night if you guys are somewhere where it is night. And I will see you guys tomorrow. If you're interested in a reading, you know where to go and my classes. All that information is below. Give this video a thumbs up before you leave and enjoy your day. And if you're a surfer, leave me some surfing tips in the comment section. If you're in the chat, leave a comment on this video once it's posted with your thoughts on the video, or comment anything that you like. See you guys later. Bye.